is Mark Lowry, and I am live from Houston, Texas. Day 2 of quarantine shut down Houston. Can't leave the house except go to the grocery store or the doctor or a few things like that. So, and it's not too bad because I've got the best cooks around here that are quarantined with me and live close to me. What's that thing doing? Anyway, I'm glad you're tuned in. I hope you're well wherever you are. And let me see if we've got any comments yet. But I've got some scriptures that I wanted to read real fast before I introduce my guest. Hello, Hope Smith. Hello, Sandra Marabella, Peg Irish, Jan Ritter, David Lane, Karen McBride. Oh, my goodness. Let me see. Karen McBride, Marsha McMullen, Joshua, Lucy Ross, Ronald D. Ray, Teresa Annette Williams, Daniel Miller. Anyway, thank you all. Hope you're having I figure you're quarantined too, so we might as well all just be quarantined together. Bella's barking. Bella! She's got the neck thing on around her neck, and she is in a cage kind of a thing, so I may have to go see to her in a minute. I'll let her out. But anyway, Philippians 4:6, just listen to some of these scriptures. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. And then in Philippians, then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares for you. I love that. I just went to my Bible Gateway app and typed in peace, and all these came up. I have told you this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I have overcome the world. Bella, are you okay? Now may the Lord of peace himself give you his peace at all times and in every situation. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. So keep your thoughts on Jesus. No, he's bigger than any virus. And guess who my special guest is today? It's Andrew Greer. He's the only one I could find up this early. Let me get him on here. Hey, Andrew.
I'm it. I'm all you got.
You're it. No, actually, this is a big day.
It is a big day. My new record, it's an Andrew Greer Friends record, so there's several of our favorite friends on it, releases today everywhere. So you want to know who's on it?
Mm-hmm. I hope they can sing.
Well, they can. You mean better than me?
Nah, I would never say that.
Let's see. We've got Cindy Morgan, one of our really
Yes.
good friends, Cindy Morgan. We have Veritas. The Veritas boys are doing "Be Still My Soul," and they sing it so gorgeously with strings and a cappella. And we have Buddy Green.
I
He
love
does
Buddy.
with his little harp. He does "What Wondrous Love Is This," a duet with a fiddle. And we have Wes Hampton, your old Gaither vocal band
Yeah,
pal.
I was
And
talking to him
yeah,
yesterday. He was in Birmingham.
uh,
They haven't shut Birmingham down yet, but I was talking to him yesterday on this daily check-in that I do.
on this news anchor. Am I your co-anchor? Is that what this
Yeah,
is?
that's what you are.
Your Corona co-anchor?
You're my Corona co-anchor
Well,
for
okay.
today.
What?
Just for today.
I know. It's only because my record's releasing today. That's the whole special.
No, I'm really glad. Hey, you want to just, instead of you telling them, why don't we just show them?
Yeah.
Y'all watch
Okay.
this little clip.
There's something about music that I don't know if it's physiologically or if it's just because of the spiritual component of music. It's an extremely spiritual medium. Music, for me, is a significant part of communion with God.
Never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise.
The production process is one of the most exciting things about making music It's a time where you basically get with a community of people, the creatives, and part of what I say for my company is we promote the creator creatively.
Oh, to grace, how great a debtor.
The subtitle of the record, Tune My Heart, is Songs for Rest and Reflection. And more than a soundtrack for like a time of meditation or prayer, it's really just music that promotes peace. Music that has lyrical content. For the songs that are sung, it's majorly instrumental, but we have some wonderful guests contribute some of the lines and lyrics of these songs that help us to align our spirits with the peace of God, which I think is part of the contribution of music, that in tuning our hearts to God, it tunes our hearts into things that are good and pure, and music becomes this holistic part of our lives, especially our spiritual lives. And I think in that way, what you hear through some of the piano and through some of the strings and through some of the guitars and the vocals is this kind of amalgamation of sounds that encompasses what I believe peace might sound like.
In my quiet time, I think it's very important to have a time of just worship and reflection, and those intimate moments that only come when you're in a posture of worship and just total surrender. And I hope this record will be one that uplifts, and I know that this is going to be a very special project for so many, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Oh, it is very peaceful, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what's interesting is we recorded
Oh,
it in
I fell asleep. No. I think it'd be nice to put that on at night and just let that, because it sounds very peaceful. I haven't heard it yet, but I can't. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, it's strings, and we recorded it in January, Mark, and
Uh-oh.
we had no idea that it would be releasing in the middle of this Corona season. Is that
That
Bella?
was my phone going off. Sorry. No, no.
But
So
we just,
yeah, and
yeah, we had no idea
the
what.
scriptures I wanted about peace. I woke up thinking about,
Yes.
what am I going to talk? I'm coming on every day to try to encourage these people, and I'm about to jump out a window myself. It is a scary time. It's a scary time, but
Yeah, it's a little.
we got to remind ourselves whose we are and who He is. You got to remind and turn off the news. 100
Yep.
years ago, people could be dying like this, but we didn't have the news to report it, so we didn't know.
It's true. You knew who was sick in your family, and that was it,
Right,
or
right.
your neighbors.
And you got to stay
So,
up on the
you
news,
know,
but back to the project.
well, I found this psalm last night, okay? I've never heard this psalm before, and I'm not sure why. It's Psalm chapter 4, but listen to this verse 8. It's the last verse of the psalm. It says, "Tonight I will sleep securely on a bed of peace because I trust you, and you alone, O God, will keep me safe." Do you hear that first line? Tonight I will sleep securely on a bed of peace.
And
Isn't
that's
that
Psalm
amazing?
what?
That's Psalm chapter 4, verse 8.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, if I think about, not to go back to my new record, but it is my release day. We were thinking of this music as a bed of peace. That's the idea, because music can be a lot of things, and it soundtracks so many of our moments. It can soundtrack parties, it can soundtrack celebrations, it can soundtrack our grief, it can soundtrack all these things. And so we thought, what do we want this to soundtrack? And I love strings, and I love the voice. Wes Hampton's voice is so
Oh,
comforting
it is.
to
Hey,
listen
you
to. So
keep
when he's
talking.
singing,
I got to go take care of Bella a minute.
okay,
Keep talking.
okay, deal. So while he's taking care of Bella, peace. Wes Hampton, when he was singing "Take My Life and Let It Be," of course, a hymn that most of us grew up on, and Kevin, with the Gaithers, played that beautiful, pristine guitar he did with it, and there were strings. We just kept thinking, how can you soundtrack peace with music? Little did we know, recording it in January, that when we released it today on March 25th, that so many people would be stuck inside their homes. So many of us, and not just stuck, but we would be willing to stay put and to sit back and to rest so that this virus can take its course. And I've heard a lot of people, kind of express their opinion about why this is. And we all ask why when we don't understand things. I think that's normal. But one of the most peaceful things someone expressed to me, which I believe is connected spiritually, was that when we're sick or when we're exhausted, when we're tired, when we're spent, what happens with our bodies? We often get sick. And we've been running as a world at such a frenetic pace, I'd say, for 10, 20 years. Of course, with the advancement of technology, it's allowed us to run at that frenetic pace. And Mark, what someone was telling me the other day was like, what if the earth is just tired? And when we get tired, we get sick and we need rest. And of course, I think
What
God
if
is
the
our
earth
creator.
is tired?
Yeah, like because we've been going at such a pace. I mean, humanity
Right,
being,
right.
all of it. Humanity being this collective created, God created us and he created us to be in community together. And we've been running at such a pace.
Yeah.
What if we're sick,
But what if
and
Tony Campolo mentioned, what if this is the Lord's way of just slowing us down? We'll
right.
all be back up on the treadmill soon enough. Take
It's
this
true.
time to get to know God. But Pam Johnson wants to know, how do we get this music?
Yes, Pam, it's available everywhere, but where I would love you to get it is you can either get it through the link in Mark's bio because I put it there, or Mark's post. You can download it on iTunes through that link, and that's where we're sending everybody today. In fact, Mark, I just got news that it's number 8 on the iTunes chart, so we're
Wait,
moving up.
it broke up. You broke up. It's number what?
Okay, it's number 8 on the iTunes chart right now, so we're
Wonderful.
moving up. But you can download it on iTunes through the link in Mark's bio, or you can just go to my website, which is andrew-greer.com, and order physical copies if you still have a way to play a CD.
Andrew dash, let me put that up.
Yeah,
Andrew dash
Greer.
Greer.com. So
Or if you
anybody
Google
wants, well,
me,
yeah, go get it there. Get it on iTunes.
yeah,
And it's just, what is it called again?
it's called Tune My Heart: Songs of Rest and Reflection.
Tune My Heart.
My heart. Like, from Come Thou Fount, tune my heart to sing thy
Oh,
praise.
yes. Stream
Yeah, and
mercy, never
mercy. Yep.
ceasing. Wow, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Calls for songs of loudest praise. I mean,
You like that.
they knew how to write lyrics back then.
And the arc of the melody. Do you think about that? Like how it's ba da da ba ba da ba ba da 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 ba da da da. It's
Uh,
singable because it has an arc, you
oh, well,
know?
see, I never think
Or-
about the music that much. I know when it doesn't work, but I don't know why it doesn't work because I'm all about the lyrics, the lyric.
Yeah, you are lyric.
I love
Yeah.
lyrics.
Yeah, I love that too. So, how does it feel in Houston? Is Houston a ghost town, or have you even been out?
I don't know. I haven't been out. I
You're on
mean,
the
it
compound.
looks like it is on the news. I've been to the
Hmm.
Kroger, and that's it.
Did you wear a mask?
No, but I got one. Hold on.
You do. What's amazing is he probably has one of the final masks available in America right there. We'll put up his address at the end of this so you can go find that mask if you need it
What?
later.
I'm about to go to Kroger.
Oh, oh my
Shelly,
gosh.
Shelly asked me this morning if I had one. She slung this up on my head. But you know
It's
what? You
supposed
got
to
to
not
brush
even
your
work.
teeth. You got to brush your teeth before you wear one of these things. And I hadn't. It's so early. I haven't got around to that yet. I wanted to get on here before you have an appointment at 11. You said so. And I want to
It's
check on
true.
everybody. Put in the listen. Put in the comments how you're doing, where you are. Are you on lockdown too? This
Yeah.
is day 2 for me. Is Nashville or wherever you
Yeah,
are?
Nashville's on day 2 of lockdown as well this week. Or no, we're on day 3. Monday started lockdown. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So do you let me ask you, I mean, with all that's going on, are you afraid?
Well, uh, I don't have any kids. I think if I
Hmm.
had kids, I'd be afraid maybe because I'd want them to have the same wonderful world I've had. But I didn't leave nothing down here. So I'm not terribly afraid. No. Now, the thought of missing a meal, that terrifies me. But other than that, I really, I trust the Lord for that too.
Sure, sure.
But also, I've gotten enough money to get to Kroger and buy whatever's. You just if everything's gone, just buy what's left.
No, Mark, don't do that, people.
I mean, there'll be some kind of meat up there, and then figure out how to cook that.
Up in heaven?
No, I'm talking about a Kroger. What did I make you think I'm talking about heaven?
Well, anyway, my next door neighbor is a manager of one of our Krogers here in town, and she was saying there is so much food. Like America has plenty of food, right?
Yeah.
But she was saying, she'll go in the morning when they let people in because our hours, are now 6 to 10 instead of 24 hours.
Right.
And she'll go in and she'll just walk up to people and go, we have plenty of food. Just take one or whatever, because there was no meat left on the shelves when I went the other night just to get some coffee and some butter. And there were no eggs left and there was no cheese left. And I mean, it was crazy. So, but you know what's going to happen? So this is my message. This is my PSA for all of you. If you're hoarding food and paper goods, they're just going to be sitting in your house when all this is over. Don't hoard.
My brother, bless his heart, I hope he isn't watching this. Just kind of putting up who all's been in lockdown. But my brother, and remember Y2K? How old were you then?
I was in high school.
Okay, Y2K. Well, my brother, had stockpiled food. Of course, he had little kids, I think having kids changes things.
Yeah.
But, I just don't worry. I just, especially back then, I think the older you get, the more you might have a tendency to worry, but I still don't worry much.
Well, you're in the vulnerable community now. Or demographic.
That's right. But anyway,
but keep going.
So I told my brother, I just read Matthew 6 where Jesus said, "Don't worry about nothing," and I read that to my brother, and then and he had guns too. He's had guns, and so I said, once Y2K did not come about like they were not hoping, but thinking it would, shut down the computers, shut down the world, sort of like where we are now. Nobody, it's just nothing happened. I was with the Gaithers, right, in Atlanta or wherever he had that Jubilate, and I walked out with one of these helmets with a light on it, at the front of it that said Y2K ready. That was I came out with that light on. That was just in case, But of course, nothing happened. So I called my brother and I said, "Hey, Mike, now you ought to throw a block party and feed all those people you would have kept away at gunpoint had there really been a problem."
What's funny is so if I'm the only one left, I don't want to be here. I mean, if everyone is gone but me, I don't want all this food just for me to be here or me and a friend to be here. Like if it's apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Number two, like Y2K, like when the economy fell out in 2008, and I'm sure for those of you who have generations on me, you've seen so many different. I think about the Cold War when literally the world was in crisis of being blown up on one button, And I think
I was a little kid when that was that was going on, and I had not a worry in the world.
Sure.
While the adults were sweating it, I remember and I think that's the way we got to get back to, that our Father is, let him sweat this.
Sure.
Let him worry about it. We're the kids. We get to play in the house and don't have to worry about the mortgage.
And we get to sit on the couch. Like what you posted the other day, you said, what did you say? Something about?
Well, I'd read somewhere that's about how, our grandfathers went through World War II and had to get on the beach in Normandy and dodge bullets. All we're asked to do is sit on a couch for 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to read what you posted the other day. This is awesome. And I don't know who you got this from. It said, for the first time in history, we can save the human race by laying in front of the TV and doing nothing. Let's not screw this up.
I read that somewhere.
It's perfect.
And
But I realize people are afraid, and I realize that some are given more to fear than others. That's a personality trait. I've never been one to be terribly fearful, but I have friends who struggle with intense anxiety over things they don't even understand. And so just like Cher Starr is saying, God doesn't worry or slumber, thank goodness he doesn't. I mean, he that's that Psalm 121. I'm going to look that up while you talk.
and then after the rapture, our homes will be looted. Well, if the
Looted.
there may not even be, I'm not so sure I believe in the rapture, and because it's only 150-year-old doctrine, but the second
True.
coming of Christ is going to happen. That is for sure. And according to the scriptures, and it's okay if you believe in the rapture. I used to, but whether we go through tribulation or we don't, whatever we go through, the rain falls on the just and the unjust, right? And so you can be as righteous as you know how to be, but we're all going through the corona thing right now. And I like the thing that I've read. Some of these, I think, one of these gospel singers I follow had, I trust God, but I still wear my seatbelt.
Yeah,
I
right, right,
I
right.
do this, but I still go to the I can't remember it all, but there's a lot of things. It's like handling snakes. I don't think because in the scriptures it says a snake would bite you and it won't hurt you or whatever, and I think it's in Mark somewhere. I still ain't gonna go hold a snake. Common
Right,
sense. And so
right.
we do need
Well,
to lay low right now. We do need to not gather together,
mhm.
and let this thing pass.
Well, Mark, I was talking to my cousin is a pulmonologist at the University of Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh. So this is right in his alley. And he's a research pulmonologist who works in the hospital.
Mhm.
So he's both thinking about the hospital's predicament if this got out of hand and also thinking about the actual science of what's going on with the virus. So I don't know why I hadn't texted him to see what he thought about it. But finally I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And he's got kids. And so he's got a lot of things to think about. And he said, that he did not think that we would look back on this season as anything of great tragedy or trauma, but what he did say would be traumatic, which many people have heard. He agrees that if he did not think it was extreme to cancel schools, for churches to stop congregating right now, just for the time being, so we can move past when this thing is spreading, because he said, were it to spread to a place that we cannot contain it, our hospitals will be in dire straits, where if you have a car accident and are losing blood, you're going to die where you would have never died before because you can't get in the hospital. I mean, that's the real threat, is that
And
people will.
they're getting to where they have to choose a 20-year-old or a 60-year-old. Who are we going to let live? That's a horrible place to have to be for the
Right. So if we stay
60-year-old
put,
and the person who's having to choose.
like, what do you think would happen if both you and I had to go into the hospital? Who would
Oh,
they pick?
they'd say that's Mark Lowry. We're going to let him live.
They like, I tuned my heart record. Aren't you that guy who does that show with that funny
And
guy?
it
That's what I.
might help you sell more records. If you listen,
That's
I
true.
know if I die before Gaither, he is going to cash in.
You know he is, and you know I'm going to be riding on those coattails with dinner
Yeah.
conversations.
Oh, my.
Okay, so here's Psalm 139, which is a famous psalm, right?
Yeah.
Um, but let me read you a part of it. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Can I go anywhere apart from your spirit? Is there anywhere I can go to escape your watchful presence? If I go up into the heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in the realm of the dead, you are there. If I ride on the wings of morning, if I make my home in the most isolated part of the ocean, even then you will be there to guide me. Your right hand will embrace me, for you are always there. Even if I am afraid and think to myself, there is no doubt that the darkness will swallow me. The light around me will soon be turned to night. But you can see in the dark, for it is not dark to your eyes. For you, the night is just as bright as the day. Darkness and light are the same to your eyes.
I love that.
Isn't it
That's
beautiful?
Psalm 139.
Psalm 139, verses 8 through 12.
That's a
Mhm.
long one, isn't it?
It is.
Psalm
Psalm
139,
139
like
is
one of the
bigger.
longest ones in there.
Yeah, and it actually gets less poetic as it goes
In fact,
along.
one guy, I remember when I was a kid at camp, his name was Mike Ivy. He was one of the pastors, and he was trying to get our dorm to go to sleep. It's all boys, junior high and maybe senior, I don't know. But everybody was talking, and yeah, he started reading Psalm 1. Of course, we're little Christian kids, so we shut up when the Bible. We were snoring by the time he got through with that chapter. I'll never forget how brilliant that was. He just started reading the Bible out loud, and next thing you know, we're fast asleep.
I love that. Nap time, folks. Parents could use that right now. Their kids are at home.
So listen, go get Andrew's CD
New record
with all these wonderful singers on there, and he's on there too. And
yep.
Andrew, he's got that sweet French voice with that vibrato that kind of like they have over in France. It's kind of like a jackhammer a little bit. But but
I can do a little bit
it's
for you.
peaceful. I'm gonna go download it myself. So at least you have one sale.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right.
All right, now
right.
let's talk about dinner conversations.
Okay, deal. Dinner
We
conversations.
just had Winona, and everybody. I had my friends have called me and said they'd love that one.
Yeah, people were really resonating with it, which I kind of wondered when we had Winona and then Cactus on, and we talked about perfectionism, right, and being people pleaser and codependency, and I didn't know if that would really resonate as much as some of our other topics, but I think perfectionism is really rampant, especially in females. I think they just want things to be hospitable and presentable, and you know what I mean? Perception is really, really important, and so perfectionism comes into play. Interesting that Winona, literally one of the biggest legends in country music, would struggle with thinking she needs to be perfect. She's already done everything well. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so Winona was a big hit. And thanks to you, we're premiering them every Monday night right after Mondays with Mark, which is cool because what I've learned is people cannot get enough of you. It totally escapes me why, but that's the case. So
that's why I'm coming on every day, because everybody loves me.
Lord knows. I look at Dinner Conversations Facebook page. I'm like, Mark.
I know you got to start going live. Why don't you do it? Everybody should. Why not? Let's all crash the internet.
You know what? I think Facebook is getting it's slowing down. It's hard to get on it sometimes.
Well,
have you noticed that?
Not really.
Well, you use your little programs to broadcast, so maybe that helps.
What I do, but perfectionism. Okay. I would get nothing done if I was a perfectionist. I am absolutely not. In fact, most everything I've ever done really wasn't complete.
Do you remember us talking about that? In fact, speaking of Dinner Conversations, we had that episode with Ian Morgan Cron and Lisa Welchel about the Enneagram, that personality program.
Yes.
You're a 7, and they said that 7s, which is called the enthusiast, so you're really excited about things and you're constantly interested in the next big thing, or you're just looking for involvement. You love activity in some regard. They were saying that 7s struggle to complete. That's what they encourage 7s to do as they evolve in their personality is, can you complete something? Don't just start something.
Well,
but you know what?
I'll go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Mondays with Mark has been going on a long time now. That's kind of a sign of completion.
I was just going to say it was over a year. It's been over a year I've been doing it, but I thoroughly enjoy it, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I didn't enjoy doing Attitude of Gratitude, that one, because it was every day, which I don't mind doing every day if it's live, because there's no work, there's no preparation, to just turn it on and go. People ask stuff that makes you think of something, and next thing you know, you're ministering to people, and you don't have to. And it's I get done, I don't even remember what I said, but that's more my personality. Where the attitude of, I had to edit, it was an all-day affair every day. And so I made it 100 days, and I said, that's as far as I'm grateful.
That's as many thanks as I can get.
I can't get any more grateful than that.
It's true. Our personalities, think about it. Dinner Conversations, I love that because, you're like, let's just go live. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to go live. And I'm like, hey, let's film Dinner Conversations. You're like, I don't want to film. It's our personality.
If it were up to me, if we're, I wanted us to do Dinner Conversation just with, our iPhones at a real,
like this,
real table. Yeah. And you said, no, you have brought class to my life. Dinner Conversations is classy, where Mondays with Mark is just throw throw crap on the wall and see what sticks. You know what? And
So if you're the next guest on Mondays with Mark, you heard it here.
if it
Just
falls
throw
off the
crap.
wall, nobody will remember it. And besides, in 100 years, who's going to remember anything you've done?
Anything.
And
It's
I
true.
try to get old people, get online and say something. You might have something that somebody will stumble across on YouTube, and it may change their life, even though nobody in your family will even listen to you.
That's
then
really
go find
smart,
people
though.
who will. I got friends who don't listen to my brilliant wisdom, so I get online and let y'all hear it.
No, it's true, because the generations, I mean, my generation can learn so much from your generation, but we don't always come into contact with each other through our natural circles of friends or whatever.
And we don't want to. The older I get, the less I want to see any young people. They're just loud and ignorant, and I don't know. I'm kidding. I love you.
I love Colleen, though. Colleen likes young people.
Oh, I love young people too. I'm just I like that old man character that I'm trying to evolve into, where I'm like a modern day Archie Bunker, just mad about everything. But I'm not really mad about anything.
No, you don't get mad.
I don't get mad. I have gotten mad in my life, but I mean, it's such a waste of time. I remember one time the maddest I've ever been at anybody was with Gloria Gaither, because she knows words real well. Mm-hmm. And she had put some words together that kind of hurt my feelings. This was probably in the early 90s.
Huh.
And I'll never forget everything about it, except I can't remember what she said. For the life of me, I cannot remember what she said.
But you remember the feeling.
I remember, that hurt. And Michael English noticed it. He says, she hurt your feelings, didn't she? And I hated that anyone knew it, because I didn't want anyone to know. I don't want anyone to know that my feelings got hurt about nothing. I mean,
yeah, you don't like that. That's too exposed, isn't it?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's usually my fault that my feelings got. I mean, I shouldn't have let them. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. That's in the Bible somewhere, but I couldn't tell you where. But my mother quoted it all the time. I hope it's in the Bible. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them.
So you're saying if you got offended, it's because you did something that caused them to respond in a way that would offend you.
I'm not saying that I did that. I'm just saying that well, maybe it's, why do you let anyone have that much power over you?
Well, because you care about them.
Yeah, I guess so. And
you care about
and
Gloria.
She to this day, she probably doesn't even know that. And I can't remember what it was, and it isn't worth even trying to dredge up. But I've tried to remember.
Well, now she knows.
Well,
now she knows.
Watch this. I only.
She and I sit together every Monday and text about it.
Yeah, right. But what else?
Well, Dinner Conversations next week is Jason Crabb and Sonia Isaacs. So that's going to be a big episode for us.
Good one.
Yeah. Of course, Jason is going to be talking about surviving miscarriages from a father's perspective, and can relate some of how his wife felt. But he's talking about, what does a father go through? How does he support the woman, where it's such a personal thing for her, of course, both physically and emotionally. And then Sonia, she tells us her story about losing her first daughter. And so it's and she actually talks about you, Mark, because Jason sits down at the table. I went to Sonia's house and we had a little one-on-one interview, but she talks about you, Mark, and you calling her, being one of the first people that called her and left her voicemail after she lost her baby, and how much that still means to her.
And
I think you said something.
I remember thinking before I made that call, should I call? I mean, is what I'm going to tell her really going to be relevant, or will it be like, because what I wanted to tell her is my mother lost the baby before me. And if that baby had lived, I would have missed my window of opportunity. But the baby miscarried, and then they kind of got together, and Mama, about 3 months into the pregnancy with me, her water broke, and the doctor said, you got to lay down So she laid down. He said, "You can't possibly still be pregnant," but I was on the inside of her navel, holding on for dear life.
The doctor didn't think she was pregnant?
And I said, "Drink something, Mama. Drink something. It's dry down here." But anyway, no, seriously, she laid down for 7 months, and I lived and was born and whatever. But I called her and said, I'm not saying, first, I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but God is still on the throne. He's up to something, and he can turn this sorrow into joy, and I don't know if, because some people might think, well, Lord, I'd rather have that other baby than Mark Lowry. What a terror he was, but she didn't. And she said it really helped her, and that meant so much to me. So sometimes when the Lord urges you to do stuff, you need to just go ahead and do it and hope it's right, because I was nervous that she might think, I didn't want
Inappropriate
to
time.
belittle the pain she was in.
Right.
You know what I mean? By saying, well,
But sometimes not recognizing people's pain doesn't mean we can do anything about it, but not saying, hey, I know you're hurting. I just want you to know I know, or I'm thinking about you, that kind of thing. Recognition helps validate their pain, because I think sometimes they think they're alone or think that they did something wrong, to cause that pain. Pain is I know you don't love pain, but pain is our greatest common denominator. It's where we connect when we're in pain, That's why we connect every time we sit down at the dinner
It's a
conversations table,
pain.
because I'm in pain. I'm in pain.
Okay, so this coming Monday
Okay.
will be Jason and Sonia, and I'm sure they sing.
Correct.
And it's going to be a good
yes,
one.
that's right. Mm-hmm.
All
That's
right.
right.
Well, we
That's
have
it.
bored these people down to just a few hundred, so I think we ought to go.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
I'll see you guys
Hey, thanks for
tomorrow
having
when
me
we
on
check
today.
in again. Bye.